You're probably familiar with Xero. It's a popular accounts package used by many small businesses. The export function within Cordic is easy to set up and allows you to create statements, invoices, payments, credits and debits in billing, and then export to a Xero compatible CSV file, which is then uploaded into Xero, where the billing info from Cordic can be combined with all the other financial transactions of your business. Exporting is really quick and easy. You just choose what you export. So I've got my drivers here. There's a filter to choose all drivers needing an export, and then I can select all, or I can just go through and manually select the drivers or accounts, right click, and then export to Xero. All I need to do then is either keep the default, which is export everything that hasn't been exported yet. So these are all your recent transactions. Think of it as this week's statements or this month's invoices. And I'll need to choose a folder to export them to. And there I've got my C drive on my laptop. If I click on that, I've created there a Xero exports folder. If you haven't exported before, the Xero export feature requires some configuration in system parameters, and you may need to change some export settings on driver charge templates if you have been using Sage exports. To get started, the support department will need to switch on the red parameter to use Xero. You'll notice a category called Account and Driver Export Translations. Don't worry about these, they've only been included to support some legacy behavior and you shouldn't need them. A good start point is to set up the Xero VAT types to match the ones you've already created in Xero. Just right click in the lined area and choose New. The text you type in here needs to match exactly the names that you put into Xero, including capitalization and spaces. This table shows the column headings from the export file and where the information from each column comes from. There's a separate PDF of this and the driver exported fields, and we'll talk about some of the key sources for exported data later in the video. The descriptions you write for billing documents like payments to and from a driver or account and credit and debit notes appear in the descriptions column. To ensure the VAT is applied correctly, you need to map the VAT bases used in each account to the Xero tax type. This is all done in the Export Defaults section. Double click or use the Edit option on one of the VAT bases to edit, and then select the tax type from the drop list. These are the tax types you created earlier. You can choose whether to break out the detail of admin charges and discounts using the system parameter Export Invoice Components. Setting it to Y breaks out the admin charge and the discount to separate lines. Exporting driver information is almost the same. The key difference is you have control over whether to export it to sales or purchase ledger. And there are also two different files that get exported, the driver sales.csv and the driver purchases.csv. Exporting charges to the purchase ledger allows you to combine payments and charges into the driver purchases file, allowing the Xero invoice to be in a similar format to a driver statement in Cordic. Exporting to the sales ledger is handy if you wish to have Xero generate a bill for the payments to the driver and an invoice for charges. If you break out the details of charges appearing on a statement into separate line items, set Export Statement Components so you'll see all the different charges, including rents and commissions, appearing in separate lines, along with the total before deductions. Setting it to N simplifies the export and combines the charges and credits into one line item with a net total. Xero doesn't have the facility to import a name and a driver ID or an account number, so we have to export the names. Because of this, we recommend that if you're setting up Xero export for the first time, add the driver ID to the end of the driver name. This will create a unique record in Xero to handle drivers with the same name. If you already have Xero set up with records in there, then you'll need to edit the driver names in Cordic to exactly match what they are in Xero. Charge template export rules allow you to override the default settings configured in the system parameters, giving you a lot of control over the contents of the export file. Each charge template needs to be mapped to the appropriate tax type in Xero, just like we did earlier with accounts where we mapped the VAT basis to the tax type. Charges are usually linked to each driver, but it's possible to create a separate export item that combines all of the charges applied to lots of different drivers. Do this by ticking Export Charge Totals only. As the charge is no longer related to just one driver, you'll need to add something in the Export Ref field here. This will be used in place of the driver's name. In this example, PDA rent is used as the export ref override. So what we type in here appears in the description here. Note that 4 drivers actually means it was the number of times a charge was applied. So it could mean 4 different drivers or one driver 4 times. We hope this overview was useful. If you don't already have it, don't forget to ask for the PDF describing the columns in the report file and where the data comes from. Thanks for watching.